Hey everybody! The last bit of superheroes behind the scenes that I wanted to talk about was actually the answer to a question that a lot of people had, which was how we animated the web for LEGO Spider-Man. And you might be familiar with this element, which is a LEGO string piece, and it's got a bunch of bars kind of molded around it so that minifigures can grasp on. And while I would have loved to have just animated this piece as Spider-Man's web, it doesn't really hold its shape well, and the way we were animating his web slinging kind of required an element that could hold a shape. So I didn't actually end up using this string element for Spider-Man's animation. What I did instead was I took a piece of white Technic tubing and I cut it into a bunch of very small sections like this. And the Technic tubing is actually the same diameter as each of these little bar pieces, and the pieces that I cut of the Technic tubing are the same length as the bar pieces. So I had basically kind of an approximation of the bars on this string element. But then once I had that, how do you make a string that can hold its shape? Well, instead of using a string, I looked at various lengths of wire and found one that the Technic tubing would fit around perfectly. Kind of like that. Then, once I had the wire I needed and the Technic tubing pieces I needed, I sat down and with a little bit of time and patience, glued them all together into something that looks like this. And this is actually the piece that we used to animate Spider-Man's web. And you can see, you can kind of bend it into any shape you want, and it'll hold that shape. So, when it came time to have Spider-Man swinging around the city, it's just a matter of sticking his arm on there. And then I attached the top of the web to a little support that was just off screen. And from there, the only thing left was to figure out how to actually animate someone swinging on a web, but I think that's probably a whole other video. Anyway, I hope that answers your questions about how I made this string element into something that was usable for animation. It's a little bit of a cheat, and if you're a LEGO purist, you might not approve, but it worked perfectly for what we needed it to do.